When we received the diagnosis, the first question I asked was, okay, now what? What happens from here? I was getting MRIs done every 6 months because I was being treated for cirrhosis. And I received a phone call from the doctor, from a doctor's nurse, who said, I had a scheduled appointment, and he said, we want you to come in before that, which is never a good sign. And so we went into the appointment, and the doctor told me I had liver cancer. The doctor advised me that I really needed to get on a transplant list, that given the stage of my cancer, that was my only alternative. Well, being a hard-headed guy, I did a little bit of research on transplant. And I said, well, I've read it's going to affect my diabetes if I have a transplant. And I was type 2 diabetic. And she, in one sentence, she kind of summed up the whole situation for me. She said, we can treat you for diabetes. We can't treat you if you're dead. And so at that point, the conversation turned to, okay, what do we do? There were two focuses at that point. One, I had to get on a transplant list to get a transplant. And there's a lot of testing that's involved to do that. The second focus was, how do we stop the tumor from spreading beyond the liver or growing? Because in either of those situations, I would have no longer been eligible for a transplant. So at that point, we consulted with an oncologist, and he recommended that I undergo stereotactic body radiation therapy, which is a procedure that isn't intended to cure the cancer, but is intended to stop its growth and stop it from spreading. So that was our next step. In addition to talking about the transplant and about the stereotactic body radiation therapy, we had questions about, what else can I do in terms of my lifestyle? Are there diet changes I need to make that would be helpful? Those kinds of things. So we really kind of focused on that. It wasn't until we found the right dietitian that we got on the right track there. So we relied most heavily on our doctors and their support staff for information during that time. The advice I would have for someone newly diagnosed is to take a step back and assess your situation. Obviously, a lot of questions are going to pop in your mind. So one of the first steps is to write down all your questions, to discuss them with your doctor. If you can, you should have a second person with you at your appointments, because doctors are going to say things that after the fact you're going to say, what did he say, and how do I interpret that? And it's always helpful to have a second person actually sitting there taking notes about what's being said during the meeting. When dealing with your doctor, you really need to be able to understand what your options are and what the doctor is talking about. So in order to do that, you have to identify resources that'll be useful to you. One Liver to Love website, Blue Faery has good information, as does the Global Liver Institute. On our own website at NASH Knowledge, we have a roadmap that outlines the path that your disease might take. In all this, just remember, I'm talking from my experience. It may not be the same as your experience. So that's why you need to talk to your physician.